This is not a simple list of healthy foods. It is a story. An invitation to look at the everyday with new eyes, to rediscover the sacred in what seems simple, and to reconnect with the roots of a wisdom we should never have abandoned. In this story, I will take you to a secluded place, a small village where years are not measured in wrinkles, but in depth, in peace, and in clarity. There, you will meet a wise elder who, despite his advanced age, retains a vitality that baffles those who visit him. He injects nothing, depends on no expensive supplements, nor follows modern diets. His secret lies in the way he lives, in what he cultivates and in what the earth offers. Through the eyes of a traveler who arrives in search of answers, you will discover 7 forgotten foods, treasures that have been part of his philosophy of life and his way of facing old age, not as an inevitable tragedy, but as a stage of fulfillment and connection with the eternal. But furthermore, you will discover Stoic principles that accompany these foods, teachings that will show you how to care not only for your body, but for your mind and your spirit. You will learn that youth is not just a biological matter, it is also a philosophical one. True rejuvenation begins in thoughts, in habits, and in the attitude with which you face the day. So open your mind, listen carefully, and prepare for a journey that will not only reveal how to eat better, but also how to live with more awareness and harmony. Because perhaps, just perhaps, the secret to aging well was always right in front of you. Our first lesson begins at the threshold of the elder's house, where the first food teaches us that strength is not always noisy. High in the mountains, where the air is purer and the silence deeper, lives an elder who seems to have stopped the passing of time. His gaze is full of fire, as if every cell in his body breathed life. Many come to him looking for magic formulas, but he, with a patient smile, only offers a steaming clay mug. It is a dark broth, prepared with roots, mushrooms, and herbs that are barely known in the city. It is not a glamorous delicacy, but in every sip, there is an intention. This broth is one of the pillars of his vitality, and the most important thing is not just what it contains, but how he drinks it, with presence and with gratitude. Because food, he tells us, does not only nourish the body, it also cultivates the soul when chosen with awareness. This forgotten food, bone and root broth, is a symbol of silent strength. It is not a passing fad. It is an elixir that has accompanied ancient cultures for millennia. Cooked slowly for hours, it releases essential minerals and natural collagen that repair the body and soothe the spirit. In a world obsessed with speed, this broth invites us to return to the slow. It reminds us that true rejuvenation does not arrive in a hurry, but with perseverance and humility. The Stoics would have deeply appreciated this food. Marcus Aurelius spoke of living in harmony with nature and valuing what is useful beyond its appearance. The broth is not aesthetically attractive, but it is functional and powerful. Within it, a key teaching is concentrated, learning to see the real value beneath the surface, caring for the body not out of vanity, but out of respect for the life that has been given to us. Consuming this food is an act of discipline, choosing what nourishes, even if it does not always please the palate. Sometimes, a single thing well done is enough to strengthen the soul. The simple life is a powerful life. The broth is the perfect expression of that simplicity, a choice that does not depend on money or trends, but on the conscious decision to stay strong. It is not just about living more years, but about living them with purpose. In every steaming mug, there is a lesson. Strength is built in the silent kitchen. This lesson is not just about a broth. It is about how you decide to live. The elder does not seek disciples. He only offers his mug, and whoever accepts it begins a journey toward a vitality that is not only noticed, it is honored. But the vitality of the body is only half the secret. So that the internal fire does not go out, the wise person knows they must protect their mental clarity. They do it with a fruit born from the desert, representing resistance in the face of adversity. Let us discover the second treasure of the village. There is a type of exhaustion that cannot be cured by sleep, nor by vacations. It is a weariness born from constant noise, from the endless flow of information, from empty conversations, and from the opinions that seep into every corner of our minds. It is the wear of a saturated conscience. In the midst of that chaos, few remember that silence is not an absence. it is a medicine. A sacred space that not only protects us, but renews us. Silence is like a deep forest where the soul can breathe. Far from the pressure to prove or justify, it is there where true ideas sprout, and where strength is not shouted, it is felt. The Stoics understood that not every thought needs to be shared. Epictetus taught that what you do not control does not deserve your peace. Often, what disturbs us is not the world, but our constant need to react. Instead, the wise person is silent out of mastery. They remain silent to observe, to conserve their energy, and to avoid being dragged away by useless passions. In reticence, there is self-mastery. This silence is not passive. It is not about hiding, but about building an internal trench. Modern culture despises silence because there is no spectacle in it, but in Stoic philosophy, silence is a discipline. One chooses not to respond to a provocation. One chooses to observe before judging, and each of those decisions strengthens the character. Just as the body needs rest, the soul needs moments of radical silence to heal its wounds. Imagine Marcus Aurelius writing in the solitude of his tent. His mind found a refuge far from the bustle of the empire, and that inner silence allowed him to govern himself. Today, that refuge remains available. It does not require a mountain. It is enough to turn off the phone, close your eyes, and observe your breath. It is enough to decide not to seek the approval that enslaves us. Because intentional silence gives back to us what noise takes away: clarity, integrity, and presence. This lesson is an invitation to be wise with the word. Speak only when what you say contributes more than silence itself. There is dignity in not saying everything. Whoever masters their tongue begins to master their mind, and whoever masters their mind no longer needs to impose themselves on others because they have conquered themselves. Silence is not the end of dialogue. It is the beginning of a deeper one with your own conscience. But to sustain this clarity, the elder knows that the body needs one last ally, a small but unbreakable seed. She teaches us to be constant even in the most arid soils. Let us move now to the third lesson of our village. There is a silent truth that many ignore. Not everything you allow is kindness, and not everything you keep quiet is virtue. We live in an era that glorifies constant availability, as if saying no were an act of selfishness, and setting boundaries a lack of love. But Stoicism teaches us something different. The soul needs borders to flourish. Protecting your peace is not an act of rejection, but of wisdom. It is not about raising walls, but about drawing clear lines where what you tolerate ends, and what you preserve begins. He who does not set boundaries becomes deluded in the will of others and wears himself out in external causes. That loss of self is devastating. Setting boundaries does not mean responding with hostility. It means having the clarity to know who you are and what you are not willing to sacrifice. Marcus Aurelius understood it well. The soul degrades itself when it submits to what it despises. Every time you say yes to what steals your energy, you are weakening your own spirit. But when you decide to say this far, something powerful happens. You stop living according to external noise and begin to listen to that inner voice, which does not need to shout to be understood. That voice that reminds you that you did not come into this world to be everything to everyone, but to be true to yourself. Sometimes, boundaries are expressed through distance, through the brave act of withdrawing without drama and without the need to justify yourself. That is a form of deep respect. Not everything deserves your energy. Not every relationship deserves continuity. This is where the wise person separates from the impulsive. The wise person knows that their peace is non-negotiable, and that it must not be put at risk for fear of displeasing others. True connection is born from mutual respect, never from submission disguised as affection. This lesson may be uncomfortable, because we have been taught that being good means putting up with everything. But love without limits becomes blind sacrifice, and kindness without borders becomes exhaustion. The Stoic does not become hardened, but neither does he abandon himself. He learns to be present without absorbing what belongs to others, to help without losing his center. Knowing when to give and when to keep is one of the highest forms of freedom. In a world that applauds those who leave themselves empty, you can choose coherence. You can learn to say no without guilt, and to close doors without resentment. Choosing yourself is not selfishness. It is the root of all emotional health. Setting boundaries is not pushing others away. It is drawing closer to yourself. It is remembering that your peace is sacred. 7 foods for the body, silence for the mind, and boundaries for the soul. The village elder has finished his story, but your journey is only beginning. Vitality is not a destination, but a way of walking every day. Walk with awareness, with respect for your own nature, and with the courage to choose the essential over the fleeting. If these teachings have ignited a spark in you, subscribe and share your reflection. Which of these boundaries will you start to draw today to protect your peace? Thank you for joining us on this journey toward the sacred. We will see each other in the next awakening.